Ever feel like you're doing everything, but losing touch with yourself? Welcome to Well Connected with Dr. Elizabeth Hafer. This is your space to slow down, tune in, and realign. We'll talk health, relationships, purpose, and the truth behind what it really means to feel whole. Because alignment isn't just for your spine, it's for your life. Let's reconnect. Let's realign. Let's get well connected.
Welcome to the Well Connected podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Elizabeth Hafer. I am thrilled about my guest today. She's been a dear friend of mine my entire career, so I'm going to date myself 18 years. And I'm really looking forward to this amazing conversation about what Dr. Kaisa Lopes does, how she incorporates the amazing world of acupuncture and nutrition and thermography, and her love for all things Blair. Welcome to the podcast, Kaisa.
Oh, thank you for having me, Dr. Hafer. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So, okay. You have this amazing practice in a town right next to where I practice. And you've been around similar time. I think you came a little bit before me, but your practice is called Phytology Medica. Tell me about that. And I want to know your origin story. How did you get into all of this amazing stuff?
Sure. So the name, yes, many people ask me about the name, and it's just Latin. Phytology, like the ology, meaning being study of, phyto plants, and then medica is medicine. So plant-based medicine. Since everybody who knows me, I love to use herbs and homeopathy and food. You know, food is the first medicine. So that's where the name comes from, is trying to use natural things to shift our chemistry before maybe we need medicine or something stronger. And I got into this type of work a long time ago, to date myself, a little over 20 years ago. Like many people in healthcare, I started off pre-med and quickly learned through different jobs and interning it wasn't quite my path. And I had my own health crisis in my undergrad years towards the end that an acupuncturist really helped turn around for me. And I was just astounded by what he did for my body and changed my labs without giving me medicine. So I became intrigued and off I went to study this type of medicine.
So when you had that experience with the acupuncturist, had you grown up in a more Western model where you just took a pill or went to the medical doctor for an ailment? And so that was your background and sort of why you were interested in going into pre-med, because you wanted to help people?
Exactly. I was that kid that was kind of sickly. I had allergies, had to get allergy shots, lots of ear infections. I lived off of that yummy bubblegum amoxicillin my whole childhood. So I was always going to the doctor, used medicine. So yeah, that was my model. But I also grew up with a family that cares about food, or one of on my dad's side, they're from South America. And so that grandmother, when I got sick, she would make me these home remedies of like garlic, lemon, tea, and drink this. And so I did grow up a little bit with these folk remedies along with conventional medicine.
That is so neat that you're tapping into your lineage and the roots and kind of honoring your ancestry.
Yeah. I later found out as I grew and went back to my dad's home country that my great grandmother was the midwife and town herbalist where she lived.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I bet she's so proud of you.
Yeah, wherever she is in the ethers.
That's awesome. So when you decided to go to acupuncture school, tell me about that journey, because that's a lot different. Not from a study perspective, because it's not easy, but just so very different from traditional medicine.
Yeah, it was. It was, yes, extremely different, because traditional medicine is a very linear type of thinking. A plus B equals C. We have this symptom, we're going to do this. If you have this diagnosis, it means this. And Chinese medicine, or traditional Asian medicine, whatever, words they want to use now to be encompassing, is a circular type of thinking, and it's a root-based thinking. Everything is working together. So you cannot just think about one thing and think there's going to be this end output. It's the philosophy is completely different to the way we grew up here, I would say, in the United States. So that took a big shifting for my brain. And then later, we could see functional medicine emerging, and they have a little bit of that idea of like a root-based medicine encompassing many systems, not just one. So it was challenging. And many times I sat in my class and thought I wanted to argue with my professors or, well, where's the study to show this? So I had my own battles while I was learning this, but it's such a beautiful, artful type of treatment and medicine. And it just has shown me over the years its validity and how it can be so helpful for people. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you spoke to the show me the study, because that in chiropractic, we're constantly being bombarded with what's the efficacy? Do you have a double-blind placebo and how many, qualified case studies and this and that? And so it's definitely something that we want to continue to prove. But like you said, the art of the practice of said thing, it's like, what do they say? The proof is in the pudding. And I know you love food, so...
Yeah, it's like a simple example happened, and I'm not against studies, and I appreciate them, and I appreciate the gold standard and the efficacy, because that's how we can move forward. But sometimes some ailments, we can't wait for a study either. The person's suffering. I'm sure that's how acupuncture evolved, of how to manage pain way back in the times, and learning how to change the nerves and the nervous system. But a simple example is something personal that happened. I have kids, and my youngest daughter has a whole slew of health issues. And way before probiotics were being clinically studied, I was using them. She had a horrible digestive system. And I asked her pediatrician, what does she think about this? Is this okay? That was her response, well, there's no studies, so kind of do what you want. Well, I need to take action, as that most parents do, and it's not hurting her. So I continued, and then it was fun. Maybe 5-7 years later, I'm in the office and she says, you should give her a probiotic. And I cracked up and I said, okay, good thing I've been doing it the past 7 years, but sometimes we can't always wait for studies. And I think if it's something that's not going to have too many side effects, sometimes that's where medicine is the art, but that's the true scientist, is we have to start doing these experiments, whatever that means. Yeah,
I understand. Wait. Yeah. And I love that, kind of the notion of necessity is the mother of all invention, and having to be so personal with your daughter. I have the beauty of being able to be one of her caretakers, and we can talk about that in a little bit, but just knowing the dedication and the adoration you have for her, and whatever it takes to help her be able to live her life well. And so I know that you did acupuncture and you got that degree, but you also have this incredible nutritionist approach to things. And I've been the benefactor of your amazing food. And so I love that you like to pay for things with lasagna or a roast. And your gratitude
appreciate it
so well with me and my family. We are well fed because of you, Dr. Lopes. But I just want to know kind of how did you kind of blend those two worlds together? Because that is, when I refer to you, I say you're going to have acupuncture, but you're also going to have this whole nutrition, and you have a PhD in nutrition. Yeah. Tell me about that.
So before I started acupuncture school and working in Western medicine settings, that was something that was more interesting to me. So I began to study nutrition and study clinical nutrition, and I got jobs at conventional hospitals, for example, UCLA, and then later Kaisa for many years, where I wasn't a dietitian making food plans, but my job was to research, develop curriculum, do a lot of diabetes work. So teaching classes, helping people with foods and what would be healthy or not for them, and go in UCLA, I worked in a clinic where I would go in after the physician, and the physician would mark off, okay, I want Dr. Lopes to go in and review these items, basically lifestyle intervention. So that would start with food, and then we could move on from that. So through acupuncture school, I worked my way through grad school doing that type of work. And then it just kept evolving as I studied. So I've always loved food. I'm a good eater. When I was younger, I was an athlete and I was looking for ways to perform better. So, I'm old enough that I was in school before the internet. So, I'd go to the library or go to the bookstore and look up what foods could decrease inflammation, or I need to run faster. So I was kind of into that, before I left for university. So it was just natural. Yeah.
I love, because I didn't actually know about your previous kind of working in the hospital system.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So neat. So where do you think the disconnect is? Because I feel like maybe just in the last couple of years, this triangle pyramid of like the food has finally been flipped upside down, and it's actually kind of becoming more healthier and more applicable to real life. But why is it still that, like, for example, if you're sick and you have to go in the hospital and they bring food and it is the opposite of anything that's nourishing?
No. Yeah, that was an experience I had, that when I was interning with some residents when I was considering to be an MD, and we would go in after the surgery and check on them, and they had just had a gallbladder surgery of all things, so major digestive disrupt, and they were feeding them these fluorescent egg looking things and Jello, and I thought, oh my God, how are they going to get better eating this? This is really backwards, but I don't have the energy or the power to change our entire medical system with the foods, or the school system and all these ones. I think it comes down to money, and companies who have these great contracts, and it's just probably cheaper to make things this way and keep it that way. It's probably very expensive to offer fresh food all the time. Yeah. I don't know where the disconnect is, but usually where there's a problem, we can find it's always about the dollar. The bottom line is the dollar. So it must be much cheaper, even though it's the antithesis to health,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you're filling a niche here in South Orange County with educating people on proper nutrition and supplementation, and then using your acupuncture to encompass that whole, find the root issue. So you do another thing in your practice, which I've actually used as well, which is thermography. And it's neat when the patients that I refer come in and they bring their thermography report, because it helps me understand their structural physiology and kind of how that is working with their nervous system. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Sure. There's a couple different types of thermography, and some women elect to do the one that's more focused on the breast tissue, which is amazing. The one I use in the office does focus on the breast tissue, but it does do all your internal organs as well as your spine, not your limbs. And reason being, the developer of it, his name's Dr. Beelan, he was developing this to help patients going through cancer treatments, chemo at the time, to show over time, were the organs maintaining their integrity? Because by the time it shows up in blood work, you're in a very damaged state.
Right.
So his tests can show inflammation or tissue change up to 10 years before it actually occurs. So I have a patient that I did a thermography on him 15 years ago. He is for many, many years, he's a mechanic on airplanes, works for the government. He's exposed to a lot of different metallic toxins. Okay. Part of his job. His thermography, his prostate region was just on fire, a mess, and he was loaded with heavy metals. So we discussed that and whether or not he was able to do the treatments and work on it. He didn't. He, might have done it for a month and then I don't see him. But then about 15 years later, his wife, who's a patient, says, yeah, we need your help. He has, the first stages of prostate cancer. Wow. And I wasn't surprised. I saw that coming in his thermography. Luckily, he did treatment. He didn't have to do chemotherapy or even a surgery, just some other treatments that I helped him with. And he's okay right now. His PSA is normal. And yeah, but to credit that test, you see changes in the tissue, the liver, your intestines, your prostate, your breast, even your mouth. It looks at all the teeth and the gums. You can see things before you're going to find that on an ultrasound and your blood work. It takes a while for the body to develop these more concrete disease pattern. Yeah, the pathologies, they've been brewing there for quite some time when that occurs. Yeah.
And I love that you offer this technology, because I have a patient that was just here Monday that we have in common, and she brought her thermography from like years past and then updated. And every year her thermography scans have improved.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
I know. She's under regular care with you. She's under regular care with me. And
exactly,
instead of developing disease, she's actually becoming healthier.
Yeah, we reversed it.
And that objective measure is like, that's the proof. That's the science.
That is the proof. Yeah.
And
it
so
is, because objectively it's wonderful when they tell us, I feel better, I sleep better, I have more energy. But like you said, there's the objective proof of the organs improving, or the spine or the brain, whatever area was under duress. Yeah.
So what do you think that it's back to the money? Do you think it's a money issue with like Dr. Beelan and his thermography? Like, is it that we just don't have enough money to fund bigger studies to be able to get this mainstream? Because sure, like we're 2 practitioners in South Orange County and we each see a couple thousand people a year. I mean, there's 8 billion people on the planet. And if we know that this is possible, we can only do so much. And obviously our patients are, our testimonies. They walk out and they say, I see Dr. Hafer, I see Dr. Lopes. But like, I want this to be well known, and I want medical doctors to be like, I know we don't see anything, but I believe you. You're not feeling right. Go see Dr. Lopes and get a thermography. Right. It seems like it's still so villainized. And what can we do to change the understanding of like these tests that really give like precursor information to health that could absolutely be changed?
Yeah, it's very complicated because these tests, like for example, that thermography, it's an FDA approved device machine, and it's thermal, so it's safe. It can be done even while you're pregnant. However, it is not covered by insurance yet. So there's one barrier for patients: cost. Another barrier is, well, in this test, this is a very preventive test. So if something very severe showed up, they're referred immediately for more medical care, where do they need a CT scan? Do they need an MRI? And the MDs are going to take over and handle it. And then comes their prescription sheet of what to do, correct? But when there are these lower things that can be reversed, we have to remember, well, what are the tools in the toolbox? If I'm an MD and it's not in my licensure to suggest foods, supplements, and so forth, what are they supposed to do with this? They would just have to say, well, continue with Dr. Hafer or Dr. Lopes. But there's not much for us to do right now. So I think it's complicated. So what we should do is try to help patients understand, what does a test do? What is the information we're getting from it? Is that valuable to you with what's going on? And unfortunately, at this time, it is out of pocket for them.
Yeah. And I think another thing, and I think we're both pretty good at this, we have really great relationships in our community with the medical establishment.
Yes.
But connect with and educate those practitioners, because they are so busy. They do not have time, and nor have they been trained.
They don't.
Look at what we look at.
No.
So just having that kind of relationship.
Yeah, exactly. And that would be a great intersection for patients if other providers referred them to do that test. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk about you and Blair, because you've got your own personal journey, your family members. I think I know all of them because of you and many of the people that you get to take care of. You are a phenomenal referrer to the Blair way. And I remember, 15, 17 years ago, you, me, and our friend Galina Ivanova, we started the Be Well Summit. And it was an attempt to bring holistic, whole, healthy mindset to our community in South Orange County. And talk to me about your experience with Blair and like what our heart was behind the Be Well Summit in the beginning.
Of course. Well, my personal experience with the Blair technique is I am very grateful, because around my mid 30s, I started to experience headaches, and I'm not a headache person. So I would go to the chiropractor, get an adjustment. It would help for a little bit, but it wasn't resolving. And then a patient told me about a style of chiropractic care that was different than adjusting. And so I went to a practitioner that did that style, not Blair. And it did help me quite a bit, but I could only hold for 2 weeks. And so I was still, I could see that, on my scans, my x-rays at the time, my neck needed work for sure. And I was a runner. So I think that did a lot of compression to my C-spine. And I did a lot of sports where like water skiing and falling and different things that my neck was jammed up as a kid. Luckily, thanks to another mutual patient, they told me about Dr. Hafer. And so we met up and I decided to try this, and that ended my couple years worth of headaches with my treatment. And I did very well. I would always hold unless I, went, I don't know, skiing or fell again or something, or a huge stressful event. But the Blair technique just worked brilliantly for me. And so I started to refer patients. Everybody in my family, my kiddos, my husband, my parents, in-laws, they all have seen Dr. Hafer. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been really cool to be like the family chiropractor for you. And so like when your son graduated from high school, I was like, oh, look, like half my practice is at this party.
Exactly.
And I wanted the birthday parties. I was like, wow, like I know everybody here because Kaisa referred everybody in her life to me.
Yeah.
It's really neat to be able to have that reciprocated kind of like care, because I don't do acupuncture and nutrition. I know enough to be dangerous, but I know who I know. So I sent it right over to you. And it's been really neat to see our two worlds get to really help elevate the health of where we live.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's so, so incredible. But let's talk about your baby. Let's talk about Gabrielle.
Sure. Well, I have 2 kids, and my youngest child is Gabrielle. Many people, patients, know about her. She's quite special. She's 20 now, but she was born at 26 weeks, so very, very premature. And because of that, she's a quadriplegic cerebral palsy, so she doesn't walk or talk. And she has very, very fragile lungs. She has something called chronic lung disease, and she has a bunch of digestive issues. She had surgeries when she was young, a few weeks old. So she has a complicated health history, and I work hard to just keep her going. And Dr. Hafer has been a big piece of that. And as she's grown, because she cannot walk and run and play like the rest of us and develop her muscles, she has some hip dysplasia that Dr. Hafer really helps her with. And she has a lot of mouth issues, a high palate. So she needs these regular C1 adjustments from Dr. Hafer. And it's just, when she gives her an adjustment, you can just see her whole body shift, relax, and her hips and her feet just completely line up just from that C1 gentle adjustment.
Yeah. And it's really neat to be able to, I check her maybe once a month now. I think in the beginning we checked her a lot more because as any human kind of goes through the process of the healing, there's a lot more work to do in the beginning to sort of develop that neuroplasticity. But now once a month I get to check her, and sometimes we have to do an atlas adjustment and other times we don't. But when we need to, it's like within like 30 seconds, her entire body just relaxes. And even though she doesn't speak, she is very good at communicating.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Lets you know that was exactly what I needed. And the biggest smile comes over her face and she's just cooing at you. And I'm like, this is so rewarding. Yeah. And so there's a lot of people that think if you have a really special needs family member or child, or, there's nothing that can be done. That is the least true statement, because there's so much that can be done by assessing the health of the structure of the nervous system and watching the physiology change.
Right. The nervous system and that data is emerging, and, thanks to social media, and everybody watches Instagram and TikTok or whatever your platform is, the nervous system right now is just on fire. That's what everyone wants to talk about. It was a difficult conversation to explain what I do because it's based on the nervous system. Now it's become much easier thanks to all these celebs out there discussing it. But if you have a very resilient nervous system, you will be a very healthy person. And that's hard to do. That requires constant positive input, which would be Blair technique, acupuncture, meditation, different things that raise your HRV, which is your heart rate variability, lower that sympathetic tone, your fight or flight, and increase the parasympathetic, your rest and digest nervous system. And there's not much that can affect that. But luckily, Dr. Hafer and I get to do things that change that in someone. The minute they come in, it will be shifted. Yeah.
Yep. It's really rewarding to be able to know that we have tools and techniques to address that. So it's been really neat to be a part of her care and just watch her grow and develop. And it's amazing that she's 20 and she is as strong as she can be.
Yeah, she is. Thanks to your help.
And thanks for trusting. I know that in the beginning you were a little nervous about it because you're a very fragile little lady.
She is. She's very, very sensitive. So just as quickly as she can respond to your treatments, she can also negatively respond, which we have to try to see. But luckily, Blair has been a godsend for her, honestly.
That's awesome. I love that we get to have this conversation, but sadly, we get to end the conversation because I wish I could talk to you for 5 hours today, but both of us have to get to see in patients. Right. And it's a beautiful thing that we're busy with that. But I'm really grateful for you taking time in the middle of your day to tell us about you and tell us about Phytology Medica. So where can people find you? Are you on all the socials?
I'm on the socials. They can find me. They can Google Phytology Medica. They can Google my first and last name. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. It shouldn't be hard to find me.
Awesome. And just so thankful for your time today and just your love of Blair Chiropractic and helping the people here with me in South Orange County really do helping them express their best life.
Oh, thank you. And it's just thank you for having me and giving me an opportunity to share this information. I think most of us that work on this type of healthcare, we really care that our patients are improving, getting healthy. So thank you for allowing me to speak to that.
Absolutely. Well, I can't wait for our next conversation. I'm sure we'll find some cool stuff to talk about, lasers and all the things. But if you want to know more about Dr. Kaisa Lopes at Phytology Medica, look her up on all the socials. She is an amazing practitioner. And if you have any questions about that, I'm sure she will be a wealth of knowledge. If for some reason you can't make it to Rancho Santa Margarita, she probably has a good referral for you. And if you have any questions for me regarding Blair or the Well Connected podcast, you can always make a comment, subscribe, and share this episode with all of your loved ones. You want to get this information out to as many people as possible. Until next time, I can't wait to see you soon. Take care.
Thanks for joining Dr. Hafer today on Well Connected. We trust something you heard brought you closer to the life you're meant to live. Because alignment isn't just about your spine. It's how you move through the world. So keep listening to your body, trusting your wisdom, and living your life in alignment. And above all, stay well connected.